After months of controversy, weeks of talking, listening to somebody shoot their mouth off about how the prince was a stalker, all of that, Disney's live action Snow White has finally arrived in cinemas. Finally in cinemas. And it's not off to a good start. You know, color me shocked, but it's not off to a good start at all. Let's take a look at the numbers here. The domestic box office is 43 million. The international box office is 44 million for a global total of $87 million. So it's short of the 100 million that everybody was predicting it was going to reach, has fallen short there. Let's take a look at the Rotten Tomatoes score. Critics are giving it 44%. The audience are giving it 74%. Not shocking there. Sometimes it does the fluctuate, but when you see the critics are all saying it is very good, you know something is up there. So Cosmic Book News has officially declared it a flop, and they're not wrong. This is Snow White box office flops. Is Disney in trouble? Or Disney been in trouble for a long time now? Snow White underperformed with a 43 million domestic box office. The worldwide box office is lower at 87.3 million. Prior to the weekend, Snow White was estimated to open to 100 million worldwide, with at least 45 million in the US. The Rotten Tomatoes score from critics has also dropped to 43%, we're back up to 44 now, and fan scores at 74%. So yeah, CC is back up a bit there. But they've all that. Yahoo and all that's come out and said here that Disney Snow White opened with a lackluster 43 million amid controversies and poor reviews. It was more of a ho-hum than a hi-ho at the box office this weekend as Walt Disney Company's latest live-action remake, Snow White, arrived in theaters. Right, they got this is a lackluster 43 million. That it was expected to haul in more than that. The film will have to do lots of business in the coming weeks to break even. It cost an estimated 250 million to make. Now we know that that number is going to be more, because they've had to do several things to redo the whole movie and all of that. So that estimated cost is a lot more than that. We don't tend to find out these things until they have to actually do they give out the taxes and everything, probably like a year or so later, then we might find out. And then they say that's still before marketing expenses. Right? So it needs to do something. The Snow White opening number is less than that of Tim Burton's reimagining of Dumbo in 2019, which went on to gross 353 million worldwide and was considered a disappointment. Snow White received a grade of B+ from audience polling with Cinema Score, indicating a tepid response from moviegoers. So yeah, as I said, Dumbo make it to 353 million worldwide. It's possible that Snow White might make it to 300. Maybe it might beat Dumbo. But I don't see this movie having a lot of legs to stand on to go forward when it comes to anything really of any kind of substance. Now, as I have stated quite openly, I have not watched Snow White, the movie. I haven't watched it at all. Come out in cinema, I have no interest in going to see it. None. But I spoke to somebody who did watch it. And after getting an earful of how much pain and suffering it went through for 2 hours, I also watched several reviews for the movie. Right? Several reviews for the movie. And these are reviews that what about 4? Yeah, what about 4 reviews of the movie? And these are from actual reviewers that I could actually trust, who actually put out competent information and say why yay, nay, all of that and the other day. They actually do that. None of these shills who just want to say everything is fantastic and that competent stuff. So with that information, I could accurately derive something from it. And I'm going to save you all the heartache of having to sit down and listen to me go on exactly like what it is my friend did. But I'm going to explain all the pain and suffering that they had to go through after watching this. I've broken this down into Snow White and the 7 ways to lose money. Best way to put it. Snow White and the 7 ways to lose money. And this is 7 things that I have from the data I've gathered that encapsulates everything in regards to Snow White, this movie, and what exactly is it about. So let me start off there. I want to go through this so you can understand everything in regards to it. Start off with number one, Rachel Zegler. Now I know what you're going to think. I'm going to sit here and talk about, she shoots she mouth off and all that and this and that and the other and all of that. Yes, that did happen. But surprisingly, and this is going to shock you, surprisingly, from what I gathered, Rachel Zegler was actually somewhat bearable in the movie. Yes, apart from the Lord Farquaad haircut and all of that, and at times she did kind of seem a little annoying in the movie, she was actually competent from what they say, because my friend who watched it actually told me that, listen, the movie called for musical numbers. Rachel Zegler could sing, and you could tell at least she was trying to put some life into what she was doing in this movie. So shockingly, I'm going to admit this, I'd say from what the information I have gathered from the sources I can trust, is saying that Rachel Zegler was actually pretty good in this movie. Pretty good in the movie she was, because the movie called for singing. Rachel Zegler can sing and all that, not a problem. So yes, Rachel Zegler, okay. We move on to number two, Gal Gadot, and this is where the problems start. I'm very sorry for all the Gal Gadot fans out there, but what I understand, Gal Gadot was not good in this movie at all. Her performance can be broken down to just over-the-top embellishment, like the guy who played M. Bison in that Street Fighter movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah, over the top. That was it. Even when she was trying to sing, apparently she couldn't do it. She couldn't play it well. She basically came up as very stoic in the movie and very rigid and all of that. For what I get, she was good, because I tell you that somebody said to me, like, you're watching this thing and you were wondering, like, okay, you could pretend to be an evil queen at some point because you're kind of going over the top and it's coming off as somewhat silly. That was it. So they were like, yeah, Gal Gadot didn't work out in this movie at all. And you go on to number three, the CGI. We all saw those CGI dwarfs and we were all wondering what in the name of God were they planning with that. Apparently, when you see it now, and I'm telling you, I already don't want to go see, but they say it's actually worse than you could imagine. The dwarfs all kind of look the same. Even the fact that they did some CGI with other things, like, some animals or kind of like that, it didn't look good. You couldn't help comparing it to the actual movie, what I was told, because from the original movie, which actually had, the hand-drawns in there, and you could see that there was some care and compassion put into it. This just looked very disturbing and very horrendous, and the dwarfs will literally haunt your dreams. That was the thing about it, literally haunt your dreams. And then number four, and this one, man was telling me about it, he was actually laughing at saying, yeah, you could think there was no chemistry. This whole thing boils down to, like, Snow White has apparently is not even a prince. It's some guy who steals some bread or something like that, and that's the thing about it. And then Snow White eats the poison apple because she's a moron, and then he gives her true love's kiss, which looks very forced. And there's no chemistry. It's that simple. There is literally no chemistry. They tried to act like it, and you could pretty much see that they kind of had to force that in there to try and behave like that. That was the info I got. And number five, and this one confirms what I've been saying for a while, it is a cut and paste job. But I get, because remember those 7 racially diverse bandits that we saw? Well, apparently they are actually in the movie. And for what I was told, it's that they're in the movie, but you could tell that the whole thing was cut and piece around it, because you could tell, and listen, the dwarfs were added after, and the bandits were still there. But the way that the whole thing played out, it was like the bandits was supposed to be a more important part of the movie, and then they got caught up because at one point you're like say at one point I was told like somebody was saying one of the bandits' names, and apparently they were acting like you were supposed to know who this person is, but it wasn't happening. So yeah, they literally did a cut and paste. So you could see the way I was told you could see certain parts throughout the movie had a basic cut and paste thing here where things didn't make sense and all of that. But that was number 6 now, and this was literally the biggest complaint I got there. The fact that it makes no sense. That was the thing, it makes no sense. The whole thing basically boils down to the story with Snow White is that she was born to her mother and father in this unknown uh medieval kingdom place that is apparently more racially diverse than anywhere else. Mom dies, dad remarries Gal Gadot, who then talks him into going off to war, and he never comes back. She then takes over and starts to rule the kingdom with that evil iron fist, apparently. Then, because Snow White spoke up once, she decided to send the huntsman into the forest to kill her. The huntsman had a change of heart. She run off, meet the dwarfs, then somehow gets the idea in her head that her father is still alive, goes off to find him, meets the bandits, figures out some problem or some crap like that, goes back to the dwarfs, then goes back to the kingdom to confront the evil queen after she gives her poison apple and almost die like a moron, goes back to confront the evil queen, and all the guards and everything just side with her because apparently she knows their names, apparently. And then she goes there, has a talking to the queen who's angry, smashes the magic mirror, tries to kill her, doesn't, then turns into something and disappears or dies or something like that. I don't even know. That's just what I was saying. And the whole thing when the fairest of them all makes absolutely no sense because you're trying to say the fairest of them all was supposed to be who's more beautiful, but you're trying to say the fairest at all now actually refers to what's inside of them and all kind of things. So then how does that make any sense? If you go to the mirror and you're an evil queen, won't the mirror just tell you, listen, you're a cold-hearted bitch, sorry, don't come back. But no, so it made no sense. Really and truly made no sense. And that was number 7 now in the ending, because you remember in the original movie, the dwarfs actually chased the evil queen. Right? They actually chased her up to the cliff and thing, and then she ended up trying to kill him and she died. So they did something, but this time they just kind of stand around while Snow White talks a lot to the queen before she meets her end, and that was it. I'm telling you, that was the movie. That's what I was told the movie was. I and I literally had to listen to like about half an hour. My friend just argue and quarrel about having to go and watch this nonsense stuff because he went with his niece and them and what did they his acting vex, and I was like, well, thank God I didn't waste my money. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, that's what it was. That's the 7 ways to lose money with that, because that was what I was told, and it's the same thing that I actually heard from all the other reviewers who I check on when it comes to these movies. None of them could point out anything that was actually good about the movie. You literally remade it for a modern audience and just made it worse. That was it. The original movie had some actual life to it, actually had a purpose, but now you were just like, let's just put this out there and nobody ain't gonna know. That was it. Just ridiculous. So, yeah, that's the thing about it. It's flopping worldwide, and from the info I get for that movie and what it was going to be, I'm so thankful I did not waste my money to go and see it. And if you're seeing this now video and you haven't watched it, you're thinking about going and see it, and you hear the 7 things that is breakdown there, then it's up to you to decide if you want to watch it or what than the other. I mean, maybe the kids might like it, a lot of singing and thing in it, might like that. But honestly, I don't think this movie has any kind of legs to stand on at all. That's my take on it so far. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell, be notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.